The third comic is a semi-sequel to Knucky'S Playtime 2. It's a continuance, but it quickly nullifies the events of the second one. I wanted to clean the slate and start fresh with an emphasis on the angry video game nerd and nostalgia critic as the central characters. I mean, they were the focus of the story, but they shift in and out of focus because I wanted to do more with the other characters as well, since a lot of the additional characters from Part 2 were background fodder. In this comic, I wanted to have more breakaway scenes and jokes that didn't really further the storyline, and I think this probably what resulted in it being like 34 pages longer than the other two combined. Alright, this comic also didn't have as many parodies in it either. It was more about commentaries and dialogue humor, cracking jokes about certain characters and their little foibles. The theme was about the nerd and the critic being sucked into a video game. So much of the humor pertains to old school video game nostalgia. It took about a half a year to finish, not just because of the length, but unlike previous years I was balancing my time with college, and I quickly realized while I was drawing it that this would probably have to be the last installment. And I do plan on doing shorter comics in a similar horror context in the years to come, like sort of short stories, Tales from the Crypt kind of things, but they definitely won't be anywhere near the 50+ pages of these first three comics. Well, I don't think the ending to Part 3 was as solid as the previous finales, but bear in mind that I come up with most of my ideas on the spot, and I seldom cling to ideas for prolonged periods of time, unless they're really good ones, and I think, when this comes to this point in the comic, I really have to remember to stick this in. I never really had a planning for an ending, but I definitely wanted to do something unique and unexpected, something that my readers wouldn't go, oh, I know what's going to happen, he's going to kill him or such in this way, and that's going to be it. I definitely didn't want to go that route because going out on the end of the trilogy, I wanted to throw a curveball that would be completely unique, something that hadn't been done before, and something nobody would ever expect. I think the one thing that remained consistent throughout my original planning stage was condemning the nerd and the critic to their worst nightmares. That was always part of the equation. But I don't think I ended it too quickly. 84 pages is certainly not quick. I was anxious to end the comic just to alleviate the burden of uploading so frequently. But I didn't want to shortchange the effort I put into it, and I didn't want to shortchange the readers who expected me to do something big. And I can't imagine an ending bigger than the one I went with. It felt surreal, like a Twilight Zone or an Outer Limits. If I had the right concept, I would do comics about the Archie characters. But I think back before I did Mr. Nice Guy, I created a poll on DeviantArt, and I let the other Deviants vote on one of 3 storylines that I was conceivably going to draw next. And among one of those was a story involving Tails trying to artificially simulate Jeffrey St. John's natural ability to repel predators with the stink from his ass. That one was called Natural Repellent, and that one got outvoted by Mr. Nice Guy. My mind is a total jumble of material absorbed from all sorts of media, television, cartoons, movies, comics, anything that I feel that can be parodied in a funny way. Most of my psycho stuff is home brewed, because I was raised on a healthy dose of insanity in cartoons when I was a kid. I was watching like Looney Tunes and Ren and Stimpy. I watched the Jim Abrams movies, Airplane and Hot Shots, Naked Gun, Mel Brooks films. And I love to laugh, and I'm always trying to think of things to make me laugh and how I can incorporate them into my own works. No, I'm afraid not. I did email both James Rolfe and Doug Walker, apprising them of the use in their likenesses in the comic. And I'm still curious about what they think of the comic and the way their characters were represented, but I never expected to get a response from either of them. These are pretty popular guys on the net, and I assume their email boxes get flooded with over 1,000 emails a day from fans. For me, it's all justified. It is my profound belief that anything goes for the sake of comedy. Anything can be made funny. The more taboo a subject is, the more potential there is for comedy. And I'm really desensitized to blood and gore, so I don't lose any sleep about it at all. On the contrary, I think there is a massive shortage of true comedy in our culture these days. And there's less to laugh at in the media, in movies, TV. Funny is just a dying art. And now with Barack Obama, we can't even laugh at the president as often as we could during the last 2 terms with W. So I say we should cast off the shackles of political correctness and embrace the humor that lies beneath the darker side of human nature. And now, for those of you who are good enough to sit through this little retrospective, a brief glimpse of my next Sonic comic, The Wizard!